were brothers, prototype commanders in the emerging field of psychic warfare. I was the favorite. I gave them what they wanted. I gave them blood. They say the synchronicity with my mother made me homicidal. He was the first prototype. His enhanced reflexes made him an unstoppable killer. When my brother found me, he put a bullet in my head, but our psychic link never broke. Like a curse, bound by blood.
We know you killed your brother. Kill them.
Command, Armacam is everywhere. I need help.
Where is she hiding? Kill them. Brother. You can't save her. You're 1,000 miles away. And when we find her, she's gonna bleed.
F.E.A.R. 3. In the hopefully last installment of the F.E.A.R. series, you return to play as Point Man, who is tasked to stop Alma from giving birth. The gameplay of F.E.A.R. 3 is still not that good. Of course, in comparing it to F.E.A.R. 2, it's kinda better because now you can actually go into cover and, quote unquote lean, but it's better than nothing. Also that the gameplay still revolves solely around your reflexes and slow-mo mode. But to keep the gameplay up, they added a level system and challenge in the game. I mean, a leveling system that you level up after you beat the number of challenges. I mean, you only get, points when you complete challenge things that you get every mission. But the deal with that is that it's exactly the same challenge all the time in every mission, so it's pretty repetitive. And of course, in the beginning of all the levels, like the first level, they give you some things that really you should already have. But later they give you ordinary boosts like health regain or more slow-mo meter and all that shit. And because of that, the gameplay is acceptable. Even though the gameplay is pretty bad as well. But at least this leveling system and everything keeps you occupied really with the gameplay, because the game is actually very, very easy. But because of all the challenge things, it's always like the same. It's always the same, like I said before, the same challenge every mission. That's very disappointing and very repetitive. Like some is just to stay in cover or get enough headshot or get enough kills in slow-mo, and it goes on and on. And there aren't really that many to be honest as well. There aren't really that many, but it's better than nothing. It's just to keep you occupied. Because it's kind of forces you to, do something different. Because otherwise it will always come down to shooting them until they're dead. But nowadays you need to like kill everybody with headshot or kill everybody with this weapon. I mean, not everybody, like 20 or 25 or something. Or never die and kill 100 in a row without dying and all that shit. Either way, it's very fucking easy, even on the hardest difficulty. Most of the bosses aren't really that difficult either. They almost recycle all the bosses all the time. It's almost like how like I don't well they kind of give you, I mean, they give you these heavy armor guys, I mean face commandos that you fight, and they kind of act like bosses because they aren't really ordinary enemies that you see all the time, and they will recycle them all the time until in the end when they throw two at you at the same time. And they also give you shoppers to fight at, and it's not really that difficult really. In the end, the end boss is very disappointing to be honest. It's just a giant freaking skeleton that you shoot until it's dead really. Sure, it takes a long time, but they give you unlimited ammo for a pistol, so well, it's not really all that hard. It might become a bit frustrating in the way there because they give you an enemy before entering the boss area that you can't shoot it almost all. I mean, something you can't of course shoot it, but it can become very frustrating. Otherwise, the game is very easy, even with all the quote-unquote challenging things. But you can also play co-op, which I think the game choice did a little bit too much in it, because the whole story almost, the end results really depends on the co-op approach. But if you play single player, you will always play as point man. I mean, eventually, till you complete the mission, then you can play as Federal. But I would really call, point man story really the real story, because you play the story once and then you get it once. You only play the game, for the first time. The first playthrough will always be, that playthrough that's mostly matters really. So therefore, I gonna say that because I only played point man's campaign really. But what we're trying to say is that you can play as Fedor, and he gets these other abilities to possess people, I think. And I haven't really tried it because, well, who gives a fuck really? I know it's really, vital to really say how good the gameplay is, but with Fedor, I really don't know. It's probably the same as Point Man. Sure, you can possess people and make them explode, and yeah, it is. What I think, and I think, just remember that I think that you just possess them and then eventually you just go into a point view again with bullets and everything. So it's not really that change of pacing, to be honest. So the gameplay is acceptable, but it's still not that good. But like I said in the beginning, compares to F.E.A.R 2, it's better because you can actually go into cover now. And also one other thing that's kind of disappointing is that it doesn't seem like there are any replica soldiers in this game. Or maybe they are the soldiers with helmets on, but then why the fuck are they fighting with armor camp? And also, the soldiers still don't really communicate that well as in comparison to F.E.A.R 1. I mean, sure, the ordinary soldiers communicate pretty much, and the replicas mostly just shuts up. Later you get like zombie people, what the fuck they are, isn't they really predictable, not really that hard at all. Later you get these demons or something that you fight on, not really all that predictable, but a bit annoying, but they are pretty easy. So that's the variety: zombies, demons, and soldiers. And zombies are just like a quarter of the game, to be honest. I mean, a little part of the game. So in the end, the gameplay, it's not that good, but because of they keeping the player occupied with this leveling system and challenge thing, it still kind of keeps the gameplay alive and makes the gameplay acceptable. And with that, I mean mediocre. The story in Fear 3 is just like the story in Fear 2. They completely destroy the story in Fear 1. Oh, and before I remember those scary sequences, the scary sequences are still there in the game, and they're still not scary, and they're throwing so much scary shit at you at the beginning, you won't even notice it most of the time. But eventually they cool it down and not really going so much with those quote-unquote horror sequences. But still, they aren't scary or frightening or anything really. And like I said, sometimes you might even notice it. I mean, one time you like climbed the ladder in a shopping mall and you're supposed to see Alma, but I just looked up and didn't fucking. I mean, I only saw her hair and her eyes. I know that's very fucking scary, right? Ooh, no, it's not scary. But anyway, back to the story. The only thing that's the big plot hole that I can't understand, it doesn't make any sense, is that in the beginning of the game you begin playing in fucking Brazil or something. You're running around in Brazil or some fucking area that speak Portuguese or Spanish, and it's, a slum. And then eventually you take a helicopter and then you drive to, the ordinary city that you always were in. How the fuck did Pointman get from fucking that city to fucking Brazil? How did Armor Camp come there? I mean, aren't Armor Camp, fed up with the shit going on that's shitty? I mean, it's pretty hard to cover up a nuclear fucking explosion, but they're still trying to do it. And why are they fucking they don't say why, Pointman ends up in Brazil, but you know what, fuck it really, because they already fucked up the story enough. So I mean, the game has already gone so way down the shitter that it doesn't really matter anymore what they do with the story. It can't be revived really. It's broken, it's raped, it's disgusting, it's not good. But one of the things, just like in Fear 2, is that it's kind of standalone, and to be honest, Fear 3 is actually a better standalone game than Fear 2 was, because they actually explain everything in the beginning and actually explain anything during the way, with what happened in Fear 2. I mean, they explain what Pointman is, what Alma is, and what Federal is, in their own fucking imaginary version of the fucking Fear's goddamn story. But, to make a standalone game, it's actually good to be a standalone game. Of course, you can argue that it's actually Fear 3. It's not like it's called Fear Exhibition or Fear Retribution or something. I mean, if it's called that and not, or Fear 3 Retribution, as long as it not have a 3 in it and indicates it's actually the third installment of the game, then I wouldn't really bitch and you couldn't really argue with it. But now you can argue with, should you, review this with those other games in that, because it's actually the third installment and they're making it clear in the fucking beginning, or should you look at it standalone, but it's the third installment? Well, should you just forget about the two other fucking installments and those expansion packs that the fucking game company don't give a fuck anymore about? Well, yeah, you can argue with it, if, what's really the truth. I mean, should you review it the way with all the games together, or should you review just this game individually, because it's tried so fucking hard to be standalone, but they fucked up that they didn't realize that it's actually Fear 3 in the fucking title. It's third installment. But anyway, like I said, standalone is actually pretty good. I mean, they explain the story well. They of course explain the hell and weight everything that's going on in other games. The atmosphere is, well, it's mediocre, but it's not bad or anything. It's near the end, it started getting a bit good, and the ending was, really good. But that's mostly, like I said before, the game. I mean, the series, the physics just go so far down the shitter that it doesn't really matter. You just make it end, and the ending is acceptable, even though it's highly focused on the co-op in the game, which I say that they can go fuck themselves to. No, they can go fuck themselves, to be honest. Fuck off and die, really. But either way, the canon, whatever you say, it's that Pointman's, decision stays. And that ending is actually pretty good. I haven't watched the other ending because I don't really want to. And I know you should, but, fuck it, really, because I liked Fear 1 and it was great. And I'm playing a fucking game that really just ruins the whole Fear game. They ruined fucking Fear 1. They ruined it. The whole story they ruined. Fuck them. So yeah, the Pointman's ending, it's actually pretty good. It's and you know, they will probably squeeze some fucking shit out of it later, some fucking money, some another fucking sequel. That's why I say hopefully the last one, because they could have just ended it. But no, they need to have some kind of plot hole somewhere they might be able to fucking exploit. But anyway, the characters are well in the standalone title, acceptably well done. The only characters they actually, you know, do well done is actually just Pointman and Paxton Federal. Paxton Federal is kind of okay, even though you will never really like him. A Pointman gets this. I mean, I don't know. It's because of the earlier installment, or if it's just this standalone title thing or something. But it's actually pretty good, even though it doesn't say a goddamn word. And it looks like a goddamn hobo. Oh yeah, of course. The story is an ordinary rollercoaster story that, you know, they actually did very well. They actually explain everything in their own fucked up version that is just not as good as F.E.A.R.'s 1's version. This is just their goddamn version. And how to say it? Well, I would say that in some regards it's actually better than F.E.A.R. 2's, but not really. So in the end, like I said, the game is, you know, they do a good job at making it standalone. You know, in comparison to F.E.A.R. 2, they actually explain everything, and it's really good. The gameplay is acceptable, mediocre that is, and the story is actually mediocre as well. Of course, if you're gonna compare, then of course it's going to be horrible and bad and all that shit. But I still gotta say, if you're gonna take all the games together, then of course the F.E.A.R. 3 is bad. Really, it's horrible, but I'm just gonna say it's bad because it actually has the ending to the whole series. Even though it's a big fucking plot hole somewhere, it's still the end. But other than that, it's actually horrible, you know, if you take it all together. If you're gonna take it standalone, then yes, it's actually a good game. It's actually a good game if it's standalone, because they explain it good. The gameplay is mediocre, but it's still good because you don't really need to compare to anything. The story is actually pretty good as well. They explain everything, you understand everything, and then it's, you know, whoop-a-doo-doo, and it's alright. Personally, I would say that if you really want to play F.E.A.R. and haven't, for some fucking reason, you haven't played F.E.A.R. yet, then I suggest you play F.E.A.R. 1 and its expansion packs and end with Purchase Mandate. Purchase Mandate's ending was actually a good ending. It could actually be the ending to the whole series for all I goddamn know. It was good. The ending was cute, if you're gonna say it. The end was cute and good and acceptable, and the end really good ending. But if you really want to, you know, see a real ending to this whole Alma thing, then sure, play F.E.A.R. 1 and its extraction, I mean all the expansion packs, even though they are not really, they're non-canon in, you know, this universe now for some fucking reason. Play those either way, and then play F.E.A.R. 3. Jump over F.E.A.R. 3. F.E.A.R. 2 is horrible, to be honest. It's horrible. You know, even as, you know, standalone, or, you know, in, you know, with the whole fucking F.E.A.R. franchise going on. So yeah, if you really want to see an ending, then sure, Vortex play F.E.A.R. 3, but, you know, remember that it's not good. It's not good. But the only thing the only good that came out of F.E.A.R. 3 is that it's finally, hopefully, over. The deal is that if it's going to come another game, you know, F.E.A.R. 4 or something, then the F.E.A.R. 3 will be horrible. And you know, maybe not standalone, then maybe it's, you know, it's still good, but fuck it, it's already horrible in the fucking, it's already horrible. So yeah, in the end, and of course you don't really fucking need to listen to me because I haven't watched 2 the ending, I haven't pressed one character, but I've seen what the fuck I've seen, and I've, you know, tried to, you know, said, you know, some kind of fucking motive, fucking opinion on it, or what the fuck you call it, but thought in it, and I just came up with that. It's a good game because it's a good game standalone because the story is actually good. They explain it very well. It's not great. It's definitely not a great story, but it's good. Now together, then it's it's bad, but only because of it actually has an ending. Otherwise, it's horrible. So I'm gonna take Fear 3 standalone is a good game. Fear 3 as a series with 1 and 2 and 3, it's horrible. The end, hopefully. But no. Really, it's like I said, standalone. It's actually pretty well, because they do a good job at making it standalone. Because it's standalone, they explain everything that happened in those other games in their own version, and it's not to question that because it's standalone. Sure, we can argue that it's actually Fair 3, like I said, but they do a good job at it. And the gameplay also, now the gameplay mediocre because even if it didn't have this challenge thing, then the gameplay would have been bad. But at least they keep the gameplay alive with the challenge thing, so therefore the game is good. They do a good job with it, a good job to be standalone. Fair 3 standalone is good. Now, together with all the game, then I would say it's horrible. Even though it has an ending, finally a fucking ending, it's horrible. It's a horrible piece of shit game. But standalone, they do a good job at making it standalone. So now, the end, for God's sake.